Hello to each and every one of you, wherever you may be, in France, in Africa, in Europe, in America, in Asia, or anywhere else in the world. Thank you for choosing to take this time to listen to an essential, urgent, and prophetic message. Because the events we are about to discuss do not concern just one region or one people, but all of humanity. We are living through a crucial moment in human history. Prophecies are being fulfilled before our very eyes, and the rapture of the church is imminent. So, to briefly introduce myself, I have been an eschatologist and chronologist for over 15 years, called by God to carry out this ministry of warning. The mission entrusted to me is clear: to prepare our generation for the imminence of the events that are to come, according to the divine plan. Understand this well: all past biblical prophecies have been fulfilled without exception. And it will be the same for those that are yet to come. That is why this message is addressed first and foremost to Christians around the world, to exhort them to be watchful and ready, because it is very possible that the rapture could take place in the coming days. And that is precisely what this video is about. But it is also a final call addressed to the world. Repent in the name of Jesus Christ. And seize today the opportunity to enter into God's plan, because time is very, very short. This message is a condensed version. For a more detailed presentation, I invite you to check out the full version available in French and English on my YouTube platform. So, to truly understand what awaits us and why this moment is so near, we need to return to the scriptures, because only they reveal the plan, the divine plan, with precision. Jesus himself emphasized the importance of prophecies. And on the cross, he declared, "It is finished." With these words, he sealed the perfect fulfillment of all the prophecies concerning his first coming to earth. But God has also set a time for the end, as the angel revealed to Daniel. There is an appointed time for the end. We are currently living at the end of the fifth dispensation, the one known as the dispensation of the church or of grace. It must end with a unique worldwide event known as the rapture of the church, also called in the New Testament the day of Christ. Not to be confused with the expression day of the Lord in the New Testament, which is equivalent to day of the eternal in the Old Testament, corresponding to the time of judgments after the rapture. Prophecies and scriptures clearly reveal two manifestations of the return of Jesus Christ for our generation. The first manifestation of this return: Christ first comes to take his church, according to 1 Corinthians 15 and 1 Thessalonians 4. The second manifestation, after the 7-year tribulation, he will return in glory to establish his 1,000-year reign. The mission I have received is to explain to you why the rapture is imminent. This subject is fascinating but also delicate because it tends to divide Christians. Many say that we cannot know the time, relying on the verse from Matthew 24:36, where it is written, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." But this verse, when placed back in its context, does not speak of the rapture of the church, but of the glorious return after the 7-year tribulation. Indeed, Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 and 1 Thessalonians 4 reveals that the rapture is a mystery entrusted to the church, distinct from the glorious return of Matthew 24:36. The context of Matthew chapter 24 describes the latter as lightning that will be seen from the east to the west. So will be the coming of the Son of Man in verse 27. Moreover, up to verse 31, you have to read it. This is the precise context of Matthew 24. Zechariah 14 describes exactly the same apocalyptic scene as Matthew 24, with additional details, including verse 7, which confirms Matthew 24:36. That the day, known only to the Eternal, is the one when the Messiah will set his feet on the Mount of Olives, recounting the same apocalyptic backdrop. Thus, Matthew 24:36 concerns the manifestation of the Messiah in relation to his return to earth, and not the rapture of the church. Now let's take the next verse. After speaking about the glorious return, Jesus introduces a contrast with a key word often overlooked. This word in ancient Greek is D. In several versions faithful to the majority text, notably Osterwald and Martin, verse 37 begins with this coordinating conjunction. But, a short word but full of meaning. It expresses an opposition to what was just said in the previous verse, namely verse 36. So, let us now listen carefully to the passage from the Gospel of Matthew, specifically in verse 37. But as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. This word, but, marks a nuance of opposition, a clear contrast between verse 36, which speaks of the glorious return of the Son of Man to earth after the tribulation, and verse 37, which introduces another perspective, that of the sudden coming of Christ for his church, which is further confirmed in the following verses, a bit later, 40 to 41, where it is written that one will be taken and the other left. This is a clear and distinct image of the rapture, of the final judgment. Why does Jesus compare his coming to the time of Noah? Because firstly, for the world, the event will be unpredictable. Secondly, for God's people, it can be revealed. Because if Jesus compares his sudden coming to the time of Noah, it's actually because Noah knew exactly when the flood would come by two different means. First, through the construction of the ark, because the closer it came to completion, the more he knew that the hour of judgment was approaching. And on the other hand, God himself confirmed it 7 days before the flood, according to what is written in Genesis 7 verse 4. In the same way, the watchful church, on the one hand, we know we are on the verge, through the signs that precede the rapture and the first signs of the tribulation, all these things that we are already beginning to see. Globalization, which is currently being put into place, and so on. And on the other hand, it is written in Hosea 3:7, the Lord does nothing without revealing his secret to his servants, the prophets. And I can tell you that God is speaking through his prophets right now, all over the world. This is also the warning in Revelation 3:3, where it is written, if you do not watch, I will come like a thief. But for those who are watching, the moment will not be a surprise. That is why the parable of the 10 virgins is addressed to the last generation. It calls for watchmen who are able to discern the true signs and to cry out, here is the bridegroom, go out to meet him. Every alert, every prophetic sign brings us closer to the day of Christ. It is therefore up to us, to each of us, to discern which one is the most important, to take them seriously and to remain dependent on the Lord's grace. After clarifying Matthew 24:36, let's now get to the heart of the chronological argument. For several years, I have been convinced that the rapture could take place on a 17th, and more precisely on a 17th of Tishri, according, of course, to the biblical calendar that I have worked hard to reconstruct over the years. I am speaking here in the conditional, so my goal is not to impose a certainty on you, but to share what I have received so that each person can discern through prayer. That is why I invite you to follow closely what comes next, a sequence of prophetic clues that all converge toward the same conclusion. Before talking about the possible day of the rapture, we should first determine the year, then the season and the month, and finally, possibly the day. In the Bible, there are 7 hidden countdowns that all converge toward the year of Christ's return to earth. To summarize them precisely, to compare the most convincing ones, for example, there is the parable of the fig tree in Matthew 24:32, which concerns the generation of the fig tree, the one that must witness the return of Christ to earth. Its countdown begins with the rebirth of Israel in 1948. And so, if we add the average lifespan of the current generation of Israel, which is 84 years, to 1948, we arrive at the fall of 2032 for the glorious return of Christ. Another countdown, hidden in the scriptures, is the 2,420 years separating historical Babylon from prophetic Babylon. And there is also, of course, the biblical chronology of 6,000 years, which I have been striving to reconstruct for over 10 years, and which also leads to between 2032 and 2033. Likewise, well, all these countdowns are confirmed by the chronology, which can be seen very clearly. Today, I would like to present to you, to revisit one of the countdowns, that of the 2 prophetic days of Hosea, by sharing with you my latest research in this regard. you will see that there are some very interesting things. So, this prophecy that I invite you to discover clearly alludes, O Messiah of Israel, the Son of the Eternal. In Hosea 5:15, it refers to the rejection of Jesus Christ by the people of Israel at his first coming. Hosea 6:1 is the direct consequence of this, a future call to repentance, which will be national and collective for the surviving remnant of Israel after the tribulation. Verse 2 contains the duration of this prophetic separation. From the time Christ left until his return, there will be 2 days, that is 2 millennia. And verse 3 refers to the restoration of Israel on the third prophetic day. In other words, at the beginning of the third millennium, after the 2 days of waiting. Indeed, in 2 Peter 3:8 and Psalm 90, we know that from an eschatological perspective, one prophetic day equals 1,000 years. Therefore, 2 full days correspond exactly to 2,000 years. So verse 15 of chapter 5, with the words repeated twice, I will go away, reveals to us the beginning of the countdown of these 2,000 years, that is, at the death of Christ. Christ's account started over, and he was rejected by the people of Israel. After the crucifixion, there was the ascension. According to the Gospels, this crucifixion took place on a Wednesday, the 14th of Nisan, between 31 and 33 AD, a consistent period. With the 15th year of Tiberius, which falls between the year 28 and 29, knowing that Christ's ministry on earth lasted 3 years, this indeed brings us to the year of his death, between the year 32 and 33. If we add 2,000 years, we therefore arrive at 2032, 2033 for the return of Christ to earth, which logically places the rapture between 2025 and 2026, since we have to subtract the 7 years. The decisive point is not the middle of the night, but the fact that Jesus died on a Wednesday. This is confirmed by the Gospels. There were 2 consecutive Sabbaths. The great Sabbath of Pesach, the 15th of Nisan, which was actually from Wednesday to Thursday, and also the regular Sabbath. The weekly one, which began from Friday evening to Saturday evening, which is only possible with a crucifixion, therefore, on a Wednesday. However, for a long time, we linked this date to a full moon by following the current Jewish calendar of 354 days. But this latter is not consistent with the prophetic biblical calendar, which is 360 days. And when we apply it, we discover that Christ's death did not correspond to a full moon, but rather to that specific Wednesday. This correction is crucial. It allows us to firmly anchor the starting point of the prophetic countdown of the 2 measured days, that is, 2,000 years. Which leads us to the window, 2032, 2033, for the return of Christ, and therefore a rapture that is very near. For years I have been keeping watch. The current Jewish calendar of 354 days is incorrect. The Bible reveals a prophetic calendar of 360 days, not with months of 30 days. Here is the evidence that the biblical year is 360 days long. We find this, in fact, from Genesis to Revelation. During the flood, from the 17th day of the 2nd month to the 17th day of the 7th month, we have 150 days, it's written, which corresponds exactly to 5 consecutive months of 30 days each. Second proof. Reconstructed step by step, the account of the flood gives 370 days, of which 360 make up a full year, and 10 are extra days related to exceptional circumstances. Third proof, in Revelation, half of the prophetic week equals 1,260 days, that is, 42 months of 30 days each. And other passages confirm this regular structure. Conclusion of this point, from Genesis to Revelation, the scriptures prove the existence of a 360-day calendar year, which is also found in prophetic years, with 12 months of 30 days each. To stay aligned with the solar year and thus avoid the drift of the seasons, it is enough to add a month of 30 days every 6 years. Ezekiel specifically mentions this adjustment. This 360-day calendar is not a modern invention. Traces of it can be found throughout history, including in Herodotus, and even during the Medo-Persian period, proving that it had circulated since the descendants of Noah. After the flood, they spread out across Mesopotamia and then throughout the entire world, generation after generation, bringing with them their skills, knowledge, and so on. So when we work on prophecies, we must base ourselves on this biblical calendar and not on the current Jewish calendar. Let's take a close look at an essential word, Odesh. The word Odesh literally means month at the beginning of the month. It is derived from Shadash, which means renewed. Modern translations often render it as new moon, which imposes a lunar reading of the calendar, even though the Hebrew text does not justify this in any context. Why is the current Jewish calendar incorrect? This significant calendar system was meticulously established by the revered Hillel II in the 3rd to 4th century CE and is therefore fundamentally based on lunar months, specifically those of 29 and 30 days, collectively totaling approximately 354 days per year. This intricate system, while astronomically and chronologically reliable, is regrettably not biblically aligned and can be quite misleading. The prophetic calculations. The Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, reveals a perfect prophetic calendar. 12 months of 30 days equals 360 days per year. To stay aligned with the sun, it's enough to add a compensatory month every 6 years. And the lunar cycle returns to the 1st of Tishri every 60 months, which is actually every 5 years. The Bible also reveals to us the proof of a lunar cycle. Psalm 81:4 is decisive. Most translations mention the full moon. But the Hebrew text says something else. Odesh, as we have seen, literally means the beginning of the month. Caché, well, means hidden moon, not full moon as some versions indicate. And hidden moon, in fact, is the new moon, the moon that is also called the black moon. In other words, this verse should actually be understood literally in the following way. Blow the trumpet at the beginning of the month, at the hidden moon, or at the new moon, on the day of our festival. And the only festival that corresponds to the first day of Tishri with the sound of the trumpet is Rosh Hashanah on the 1st of Tishri of the 7th month. So the prophetic consequence is as follows. So we know two things. God's calendar is 360 days, with a compensatory month of 30 days added every 6 years to prevent the seasons from drifting. And then the lunar cycle aligns every 5 years with the 1st of Tishri. At the Feast of Trumpets. These two keys allow us to move forward in the revelation of the 17th of Tishri as a major prophetic date. Now, a strong argument in favor of this reconstruction of the biblical calendar. We have seen that the measured prophecy can be fulfilled either in the year 32 or in the year 33, which are supposed years of Christ's death. If we choose the year 32, it would correspond exactly to the year 4000 since Adam, since there would be 2000 years left to go. To reach the 6000 years, which must therefore converge with the year 2032, the year of Christ's return to earth. The year 4000 is a multiple of 5, so it is a year in the 5-year lunar cycle. Indeed, if you go from Adam to 4000, every 5 years there is a lunar cycle. So in the year 4000 there is a lunar cycle, and in the year 32 there is a lunar cycle as well. So concretely, every 5 years the new moon falls on the 1st of Tishri. And in the year 4000 from Adam, that is the year 32 AD, which is the year of his death. And the 1st of Tishri is September 23rd. By counting backwards from there, month by month of 30 days, since all the months have 30 days, you arrive at the 14th of Nisan, the day of Christ's death. And, well, as you can see, that's Wednesday, April 9th, 32. So that's proof. It's not a full moon, but indeed a Wednesday. And this confirms the years with the 2 consecutive Sabbaths, knowing that with other years, it doesn't work. So that's what I'm telling you. Strong evidence. The biblical calendar of 360 days places the crucifixion on the right date. All we do is repeat with the biblical account. So, before applying this principle of the prophetic calendar of 360 days per year to Daniel's last week, I need to explain to you why the rapture is very likely to occur in the 7th biblical month and why on the 17th of Tishri. First of all, the feasts of the Lord as prophetic markers. I would like to draw your attention to the importance of the eternal feasts mentioned in Leviticus. because each of them carries a spiritual significance and must be fulfilled prophetically. Without going into detail, it is important to understand that the first 4 feasts were prophetically fulfilled during Christ's first coming to earth. In the same way, the last 3 autumn feasts must absolutely be fulfilled prophetically in the month of Tishri, at the time of Jesus' return to earth. However, contrary to what the vast majority of believers think, the Feast of Trumpets does not symbolize the rapture of the church, but rather the gathering of Israel in accordance with Matthew 24:31. And so I agree with Dr. Schofield, a spiritual grandfather of the previous generation, who also supported this view. Matthew 24:31, he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. That is Rosh Hashanah by definition. And Yom Kippur, which follows 10 days later, will be the great forgiveness for all the Jews in the world who will be gathered together. So you may ask, what is the connection with the church? Well, the feasts of the Lord are, for us believers, precious prophetic markers. They allow us to precisely define the season of the rapture, even if the exact day escapes us. Since the autumn feasts will be fulfilled in their spiritual and prophetic dimension, in the 7th biblical month, at the return of Jesus Christ to earth, the coming of the bridegroom for his church must also take place in a 7th month. Biblically, but exactly 7 years earlier, before the tribulation. Now, to the question, why the Odyssey of Tishri? Well, for several years, the Lord has led me to this date of the 17th of Tishri. I have received this conviction in many ways, confirmed notably by testimonies as well. A Christian woman had a vision in which she recounts that she was lifted up in spirit and was on the mountain, seeing the heavenly Jerusalem. And then there was a sign that was moving around. As it is written, it was moving around with the number 17, where it was confirmed that it would be at that moment that the saints, the elect of Christ, would move about in the heavenly Jerusalem. And this was confirmed by another dream from another sister in another part of the world. So, if we now apply the biblical calendar of 360 days, the last week of Daniel, 2 hypotheses. So, briefly, here is how the biblical calendar of 360 days per year looks for the last week of Daniel from 2025 to 2032. Well, the linear cycles, it's in year 4.8 in its language, 6,005 years back. That's 2027. If I start from there to reconstruct my calendar, well, first hypothesis, I arrive here. There you go. On the 1st of Tishri, which typically falls around September 9th, and the 16th, 17th of Tishri, which generally occurs between September 24th and 25th. These dates are significant within the calendar. So, that's the first hypothesis. The second hypothesis, which I also consider, for the 17th of Tishri, the supposed day of the rapture, if I assume that the linear cycle is actually not in 2027, but in 2025. Why? Because there was a change in the calendar. Julian, it switched to the Gregorian calendar. There was a 13-day shift over 2,000 years, and they added 13 days, which also caused a 2-year shift in the lunar cycle. So, instead of 2027, we should actually end up in 2025 to be accurate with the calendar, with the same calendar from the beginning of the Christian era to the end. Well, if I start from there on the 17th of Tishri, I arrive here at the 7th, 8th of the full moon. There you go. That's my second hypothesis. An interesting thing to note is that if I showed you these 2 hypotheses reconstructed from the biblical calendar of 360 days, it's because there have also been visions in the world, many Christians who have had prophetic dreams or visions of the rapture, with a full moon at the time of the rapture. And in particular, a brother I know who is in Switzerland, who in 2016 had a vision of a full moon in broad daylight. Now, that's impossible. A full moon in the middle of the day, and his son a few years later had the same thing. So in 2021, he also had a vision with a full moon in broad daylight. Well, those who saw a full moon in broad daylight, along with the rapture, were Europeans. So I conclude, either it's a new moon, since a full moon in broad daylight isn't possible, or it's because the rapture will happen during the day in Europe and at night in the rest of the world, like in the United States. And that matches with there you go, the dreams. Another thing, I haven't talked to you about the time, but it's possible that it will be at 9 a.m. Yes, that's what is said about Tishri because there have been revelations in that direction. In particular, there's a brother who had a prophetic dream, which is very well known. It's actually a vision. This was several years ago. He's no longer alive, but he shared this vision. It was a 70-year-old Norwegian at the time who received it, and the rapture happened at 9 a.m. And there have been other confirmations. We're in London as well. With the time difference, it was the same time. So, to conclude all this, dear friends, well, some dreams reported this year seem to focus on the Feast of Trumpets according to the rabbinical calendar. Personally, I remain very cautious. That calendar is incorrect. What matters is to stay attached to the prophetic 360-day calendar revealed in the scriptures. For now, I have not received any definitive confirmation of the exact day, except that several brothers and sisters around the world have seen in dreams the rapture happening in the middle of the night. This is a troubling detail that appears in many accounts. So, in the absence of more confirmation about the exact day, let's remain cautious throughout this whole season, from September to October, knowing that Noah was warned 7 days before the flood. God can still give us confirmation in the final moments. That is why I urge you, let us remain in prayer, in vigilance, in expectation. We are in the season of the rapture. We are living in decisive times. Soon the bridegroom will come, and those who are awake will enter into his joy. There you have it. May the Lord bless you. Take this as a real possibility, not as a certainty, but be vigilant. That is what the Lord asks of us. And may the Lord keep you, bless you, and help you prepare, all of you who are in the world, in the four corners of the world. May the Lord keep you and help you be ready for that day in the name of Jesus.